Welcome everyone to a very exciting video. This is going to be my release video for Slings and Arrows, the new set featuring Shakespeare and some of his creations, Hamlet, Titania, and the Wayward sisters. I was able to participate in the reveal season thanks to Restoration Games, and that was a lot of fun. But now, the set's here, and pre-orders are shipping out, so if you haven't yet, check the link in the description to order your copy today. Today we're going to be doing what I did for Sun's Origin, playing an Unmatched Adventures game with the Slings and Arrows characters. I always love playing adventures, and I want to do more content with it, both here on YouTube and over on my Twitch channel. I'll also be doing a lot with the Slings and Arrows characters in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out on Full Send Friday and my 2-year anniversary stream over on Twitch at the end of this month. Let's not wait any longer and get into Slings and Arrows versus Unmatched Adventures. Alright, welcome everyone. And this is a very exciting video because this is going to be the premiere of Slings and Arrows on the channel. Of course, I did several reveal videos. Thanks again to Restoration for letting me do that. But here we are on release date, so if you've pre-ordered from Restoration's web store, the sets will start shipping out today. You can go ahead and check the link in the description if you have not ordered yet and would like to get in on the set. I'll be showing off a lot of cards here, a lot of mechanics that have not been revealed as part of the reveal season, and just seeing how these characters play. If you've seen some of the previous content on my channel back in January, I did a adventures game with Sun's Origin, Tomoe Gozen and Oda Nobunaga, and did a 2-player against Martian Invader, Skunk Ape, and Ant Queen. So today, we're going to be going against Mothman with Slings and Arrows, and we're going to be going against the 4 minions that I did not go against in my previous adventures video on the channel. So that'll be Jersey Devil, Loveland Frog, Tarantula, and the Blob. As far as the characters, we've got Shakespeare as player 4, Hamlet as player 3, the Wayward sisters as player 1, and Titania as player 2. I will show off cards and the abilities for the fighters as we get to them, their first turn of the game. And then of course you'll see more cards as the game goes on, so we can jump in and start playing right away. Before we get started though, just gonna have to flip the bridges over and see which effects we have where. Bridge number 2 here is the covered bridge, that's the healing one. Bridge number 1, which has a doom on it, is going to be the suspension bridge. This is the one where you look at the top 2 cards of an enemy deck and discard one, put the other on top. It's a little bit annoying that that's in the first spot because that's really good late game once you kind of clear out some of the minions and go after Mothman himself. We've got the trust bridge here over on number 3. This is the movement one. And then we've got the drawbridge on 4. Now, I do like this being on 4 because in my opinion this is the best bridge. So the fact that we won't be losing that anytime soon is very nice. For the amazing events, we're just using Vanquish All Evil like last time. This just means that we have to defeat all minions to win the game. I tend to do that a lot of times anyway. You definitely want to start thinning out minions near the beginning just so you don't get overwhelmed, and then I usually end up taking out most of them either way. But this will give us a little bit more time and add a little bit of extra challenge while also letting us see more cards. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started with Slings and Arrows versus Adventures. Alright, we've got the Loveland Frog here going first. He is going to be going either for the actor up here or Oberon. Let's go ahead and have him go for Oberon. I guess he could go for Titania as well. Have Frog go after Titania, and she will not block because Frog doesn't do too much overall. Unfortunately, he does pull the one card that actually does some okay damage. Leg Thrash, so that's going to be a 1 value attack, and then after combat, if the Loveland Frog won the combat, which he did, deal 2 damage to an adjacent opposing fighter. So we could put the extra damage on Oberon if we wanted to spread it out, but I think Titania can just take 3. We do have the heal bridge available to us, and actually Oberon's standing on the heal bridge, so he might just do that on Titania's turn. So not the worst thing in the world. And that's going to be the Frog's turn. Blob. Alright, we're going to get a bunch of the minions going, it looks like here. But that's fine, it gives us time to react to what they're doing, which is nice. So Blob is 1 away from Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So I guess that's going to be who he's going for here. They could block, but again, I don't really love doing that right now. I don't think the blob has anything that could one-shot them. It could get close, but it wouldn't quite one-shot them. Caustic Spray. It's a 1-value attack, and then after combat, deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter for each acid token on or adjacent to their space. So, that's quite good for us because there's currently no acid out. So, that's going to be 1 damage to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They start with 6, so they're at 5 now. And that'll be the blob. Player 3, ooh, that's going to be Hamlet getting some revenge. So, I'm sure this is a moment that a lot of people have been waiting for, as Hamlet's ability card was not revealed as part of the reveal season. So let's go ahead and take a look at Hamlet. His ability is the question. At the start of your turn, choose to be or not to be. If you choose not to be, deal 2 damage to one of your fighters. And then there are passive effects when you've chosen to be or not to be. If you have chosen to be for the turn, then when you maneuver, draw 1 additional card. And if you have chosen not to be, you add +2 to the value of Hamlet's attacks. So, you can either take damage on one of your fighters, which can be Rosencrantz and Guildenstern or Hamlet himself, in order to get +2 for your attacks for the turn. Otherwise, you draw an extra card when you maneuver. Then we've got a lovely token here, kind of like Big and Small Alice, where it's to be on one side and not to be on the other. And this is the great art from To Sleep Perchance to Dream, which was one of my reveal cards. Let's take a look at Hamlet's hand here and see what we're working with. Got Outrageous Fortune. This was one of the revealed cards by Baked Goods. It's 1-value versatile that can only be used by Hamlet. It says during combat, discard the top card of your deck, add its boost value to this card's value. And after combat, if you lost the combat, return the card you discarded to your hand. So it's either going to help you block well and not take damage, attack well and deal damage, or if you lose the combat, you at least get the card that you boosted with back. So pretty cool card. I like it a lot. 2 copies of that in the deck. Then we've got the Play's the Thing. It's a 3-value versatile any card. After combat, your opponent discards 1 random card. If you won the combat, Hamlet recovers health equal to its boost value. So we see some random discard there, which is always very nice. Great effects to have in general. And instead of something like an ambush, where you're boosting the value of your card, you can get some health back, again, as long as you win. Now, 3 isn't super easy to win with, either on offense or defense, but, of course, if you chose not to be, this will be a 5 on offense, so that's a lot easier to get that effect off with. And if your opponent feints it, they're still taking 3, which is great. Nothing either good or bad. This is a 2-value defense any. After combat, if your opponent played a versatile card, deal 2 damage to the opposing fighter. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this is ever going to trigger in Adventures, because even though all of the villain and minion cards have an offense and a defense value, I don't think they're considered versatiles. So we're just going to treat this as if it doesn't get that effect, but I would be interested to see if there's going to be an official ruling on whether those are supposed to be versatiles or not, or if there's already been. I haven't actually kept up if there's been official rulings on that kind of stuff. Then we've got Maddening Insight, a 0-value defense card. Again, it's an any, and it has the during combat effect. The value of this card is equal to the number of cards in your hand. And after combat, if you won the combat, your opponent discards 1 card. So, again, we see some discard. This time it's a chosen discard, but considering this could be up to a 6, if you've got a full hand on your opponent's turn, it's pretty nice. Obviously, a card that doesn't like being feinted offensively, but for the most part, fighters don't do that all too often. I think your worst case scenarios are going to be against fighters who can get a powered up offensive feint, like Moon Knight when he's Khonshu, Achilles when he's enraged, She-Hulk, just hers is a 4 on offense in general, so. And then we've got a 2-value attack here, again in any, Uncertain Doom. During combat, if your opponent played a versatile card, ignore its value. So another one that probably won't actually do that in this mode here, but a pretty cool card nonetheless. And if you chose not to be, then that can do 4 through a defense. And a lot of the best value blocks are, you know, purples, like Skirmish, for instance. Bigfoot has Hoax, things like that, so pretty nice. And if your opponent feints it, against a standard feint, you're still dealing 2 damage if you chose not to be, so quite a cool card. And in this mode, at least it has a 3 value boost, so we're looking pretty good there. Now that we've gone over the hand, what are we going to do with Hamlet this turn? I could try to get up to here and clear this off, though the sisters are positioned a lot better to take care of that. We could also just try to hit Blob pretty hard. Alright, let's show off some of the cool stuff Hamlet can do as far as building up his hand. So let's choose to be. So we won't be going too crazy on offense this turn. I just don't think we have a great hand for it. First action, we'll maneuver. And because we chose to be, we'll draw an extra card. Ooh, okay. So we got To Sleep Perchance to Dream, which was one of my reveal cards. It's the 3 value attack, and after combat, if you won, move the opposing fighter number of spaces up to the amount of damage dealt. And then if you lost the combat, Hamlet recovers 1 health. So if you chose to be, then this is much more likely to get you healing. And if you chose not to be, this is likely to get the movement effect while being a 5 on offense. So quite nice there. And then let's show off, I think, probably the coolest card in the deck. Not just the art, but the effect is pretty crazy. Scheme for Hamlet, Method in the Madness. Put any number of cards in your hand on the bottom of your deck, then draw up to that many cards, and you gain an action. So you could theoretically play this and put everything else. Like I could play this for my second action and put all 6 of these cards on the bottom of my deck in whatever order I want, and then I could draw up to 6 cards, but I could draw less. I could theoretically draw 0. So there is some fun stuff you can do with this, with like messing with your hand size and potentially giving yourself more room in exhaustion. However, Hamlet is definitely not an exhaustion fighter, because if you think about his ability, every turn he's either taking 2 damage, which he can put on his sidekick for a bit, but eventually he's going to have to go to him when his sidekick goes down. And then if he chose to be, then he's drawing extra cards from maneuvering, and so you're going through your deck quicker. So this type of card would be crazy in most fighters' decks in this game, but in this deck it actually functions in a pretty interesting way while not being that much of a problem as far as balance and exhaustion concerns. Let's go ahead and go and boost with Nothing Either Good or Bad. Again, I just think it's mostly blank 2 in co-op here, so won't be too sad to see that go. And we'll go 3 here for Hamlet, and we'll go here for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And then second action, we will maneuver again, drawing 2 cards. There's another one. Let's go ahead and get rid of the other one that we drew here to activate the bridge effect. Before we do, we'll look at this new card. Blood will have Blood, 2 value versatile for Hamlet. After combat, if Hamlet took damage this turn, deal 1 damage to the opposing fighter. So this can be a 4 on offense that does 1 auto damage if you chose not to be and damaged Hamlet. Also, as a 2 value block, you're almost always going to be taking damage, so it can kind of be like a point blank that does 1 damage. That's probably the closest thing. A point blank that does 1 damage, but you don't have to be adjacent to the opposing fighter. Now sometimes they're going to attack you with something small and you won't get the damage, but most of the time you're going to be happy with however this kind of plays out. So cool versatile card there. Alright, and then yeah, we discard the Nothing Either Good or Bad, and we get to move a fighter up to 3 spaces. So I think our best bet is probably to position either Jersey Devil or Mothman kind of where we want them so our plans don't get messed up. Let's put Jersey Devil here. And then I think that's going to be Hamlet's turn. 1, we've got the sisters. Alright. I was kind of hoping they'd go before some of these other enemies because we've got some fun stuff we can do with the sisters. So, looking at the sisters ability card, this one has been revealed, but it's Bubbling Brew. Your cards go into your cauldron instead of your discard pile. After you attack, you may cast 1 spell that you have the ingredients for. If you do, discard all the cards in your cauldron. So the cauldron, some people were speculating that it was one of the extra cards since there were 6 extra cards compared to a normal 4-player set. But no, this is the cauldron. You've probably seen it down there. This is a very large cardboard component here. It's actually the largest component outside of like the maps that's really been in any of the sets previously. And this is your cauldron. So your cards, when they are used, will go into your cauldron. And then on the cauldron itself, you have references for what your spells cost. So with a snake and a bat, you can cast a spell that draws a card and one of your fighters recovers a health. Snake and wing is move any fighter up to 3 spaces. Wing and bat is deal 1 damage to a fighter that shares a zone with any of your fighters. And then all 3 is gain an action. And it's after you attack, you can discard the proper cards with the matching ingredients and cast the appropriate spell. When you decide to cast a spell, you discard all the cards in your cauldron. So even if I had like 2 bats and a wing, I could cast the deal of damage to any fighter in your zone, but it would discard all 3 of the cards, even though only 2 of them are technically necessary to cast the spell. And this is just so your opponent has some counterplay in forcing you to use more ingredients than you might want to, because like if they keep attacking you, like let's say you attacked on your turn and there's 1 card in your cauldron, well now your opponent can double attack you, and if you block both of them, now there are 3 cards in your cauldron, and if you don't have like the all the symbols to cast the gain an action spell, or if you want to cast one of these more because of the situation, then you're kind of wasting one of the ingredients, quote unquote. Yeah, you can do some really cool stuff with the spells, and I'm sure we'll see that as the game goes on here. All right, let's take a look at the Witch's Hand. And hey, there we go. There's another one of the common cards for this set, Prophecy. This is a card that we saw in King Arthur's deck for Merlin. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand and the other 2 back on top of your deck in any order. So very cool scheme to see. There are 2 copies. I believe there's only 1 in Arthur's deck, so you get a little bit more consistency as far as when you're going to get this effect. And it's a wing for the symbol. Then we've got a 3-value attack with the snake symbol, Hurly Burly. During combat, reveal the top card of your deck. Your opponent chooses 1. Either you put that card in your hand, or you put that card in your cauldron and add its boost value to this card's value. So they're either going to have to give you access to a card or buff this up. And I believe the biggest boost value that the sisters have is a 3, so this could be up to a 6. And that might be a tough choice for them depending on the situation. Got a 2-value defense here with the snake symbol, Pricking of My Thumbs. After combat, deal damage to the opposing fighter equal to the amount of combat damage your fighter took. So basically a skin like Titanium from Luke Cage. And this is actually pretty much exactly skin like Titanium, because remember, Luke, even though his is a 0 value, his ability essentially treats it like it's a 2, since he reduces combat damage that he takes by 2. And so yeah, the sisters only have 6 health apiece, but they do have some healing with the spells, and we might see more healing in their deck as the game goes on. So pretty powerful auto damage here, 2 copies of that in the deck. And of course we have one of the cards that we did a reveal for, Toil and Trouble. This is a 2-value defense with a snake symbol, and during combat increase the value of this card by 1 for each different ingredient symbol in your cauldron, so this can be up to a 5-value defense. And then hey, this card, very cool. Love the art. That's kind of goes without saying for most of the set, but this is a 0-value versatile. The stars align. During combat, the value of this card is equal to the number of different zones all of your fighters are in. So even though we're playing co-op, this only counts the witches, because whenever it refers to your fighters, that's the ones that you control. So player 1 is just controlling the witches in this case. But still, because you have 3 bodies at the start of the game, early on, as long as you keep your witches alive, this can get quite a bit of value, especially if you set up witches in double and tri zones on the board. So I'll be interested to see like what the maximum this card can get to on different maps, because some maps have a lot of the multi-zones and some maps not as many. So very cool card. So that's what we're working with here. We're gonna have to start with the maneuver. Another prophecy. Okay. So we're gonna have access to cards when we want them. But right now I have a few goals in mind. One of the things I want to do is go and get the suspension bridge, because do not want Doom there if we can avoid it. And I would love to get a really good stars align off on something So let's do this. Let's go ahead and have Sister Sting here go right there. We'll have Sister Howlet go over here. I could boost with the Toil and Trouble. How spicy do we want to get is the question. A very interesting note is the sisters do kind of counter Jersey Devil to an extent, because Jersey Devil discards cards from your deck, but anytime you discard a card with the sisters, it goes to your cauldron. And then Jersey Devil looks at your discard pile when he has the effects that like care about canceling like a card's effect when you've already played that card, or when that card's already in your discard pile rather. So if you just keep the cards in your cauldron as long as Jersey Devil's alive, maybe you're missing out on some spell value, but you're also making it so he can't mess with your discard. So that is very interesting. I was gonna say I wouldn't love to go here because Jersey Devil's going to be in that zone, and I'm trying to make it so most of my fighters aren't in his zone, but it might be worth it to get 2 extra zones for Stars Align. I mean, I guess I could also hit him with a Stars Align, and Jersey Devil's a pain in the ass, so yeah, maybe that is actually really worth it. It would also get us extra symbols in our cauldron, though if we're boosting with the card that cares about that, I guess that's not as important. But, you know, I think I've been convinced. Let's go ahead and... okay, I think we're about to see some of the really cool stuff the sisters can do. So, let's go back to where we were. And let's boost with Toil and Trouble. That will put it in our cauldron. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Sting. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Howlet. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3 with Venom, aka the best sister. I'm obligated to say that because I was Venom in the reveal, of course. Although I gotta say, for anyone who frequents the Discord, whenever I've been looking at the sister cards recently, I don't actually think of the cards themselves. I think of the users in the Discord who have them as their profile pictures now. So when I see Toil and Trouble, I think Minviz. When I see Double Double, I think Monty, and when I see Fire Burning Cauldron Bubble, I think Mitosis. So you guys have successfully wormed your way into my brain, and I cannot wait to do the Sisters versus Willow Witch War stream whenever that ends up taking place. It'll probably be not too much into the future now that the set's out and more content will be out for it, so keep an eye out for that. I'll probably be streaming that on my Twitch channel at some point. Now that we are spread out, we are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zones. I don't think I can get more than that without being somewhere I don't want to be. I guess I'll go here with Venom just so we have more options on where the Tarantula and Mothman go, just so they're not all ganging up on Venom and killing her like right away. And since we started here, we obviously can reach in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we'll do that. And then for my discard for the bridge effect, I'm gonna get rid of one of the prophecies. I don't love doing it because it is a really fun effect, but I do have the other one. It's also the only other wing card in my hand right now. Well, I mean, I have the Stars Align, so I guess I could go with that instead, because unfortunately I don't have a bat. If I had a bat, I'd be able to like maybe get the gain in action. Let's actually do the Hurly Burly, because prophecy could be nice to filter our stuff. We're already going to get a wing in there because we're playing Stars Align, presumably. It's a lower boost value, and also your opponent choosing one whenever the villains or minions have to make a choice they refuse to. So I don't actually know. It might just make it so neither one happens, or you would get to choose. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But either way, it wouldn't be as good as it normally would be. So we'll hold on to the prophecies. Get rid of the Doom for the discard, and then we will use the Suspension Bridge effect, which will let us look at the top 2 cards of a deck. I think we're going to do Jersey Devil since we're hitting him. Let's take a peek at what we got going on. Oh, all right. So yeah, we're going to discard the Blood Curdling Scream, and we're going to put the Deception back on top. And then we're going to attack Jersey Devil with Sister Sting. And Jersey Devil is going to block with that Deception. So stars align, just double checking one more time. We are in tan, green, and dark red, so that's 3. Then this one just adds the blue because we already have tan here, so that's 4. And then we've got the gray and pink, so that's 6 total. So stars align is a 6, and Jersey Devil is blocking for 0. So he's going to go down from 10 to 4. Absolutely beautiful. And then this will go to his discard. He will shuffle. And then this is going to go to our cauldron. Now we do have wing, snake, snake. So if we wanted to, we could cast the spell to move any fighter up to 3 spaces. I kind of like that because it actually lets us get out of Jersey Devil's zone, which is something we were talking about wanting to do. And honestly, like, I don't think it's going to be super necessary for us to... Like, I don't think we need to worry too much about these being in our discard versus our cauldron. And if we want to play more cards next turn or block with cards, I don't want to be wasting more opportunities for spells. So yeah, let's go ahead and discard these. We waste one of the snakes, but that's fine. And then we'll move any fighter up to 3 spaces. I think I'm going to move Sister Sting here. And let's go here and chill out with our buddy Hamlet. And that will be their turn. Player 2, that's going to be Titania. So, Titania has fairy magic. If you do not have a face-up glamour at the start of your turn, flip the top card of your glamour deck face up. Its effect is ongoing while it remains face up. And just for anyone who's curious, we saw 1 glamour, Glamour of Love. There are indeed 6 glamours. So that gives you an idea of how strong Queen of the Fairies can be. It's a 2 that can go up to an 8. And we'll see quite a few glamour effects here as the game goes on. Let's see what our first one is. Well, look at that, it is Glamour of Love. So when you maneuver, you may move an opposing fighter 1 space before moving your fighters. Gonna have to wait a little bit to see a new glamour here. And let's take a look at Titania's hand. We've got As Wise as Beautiful. It's a 2-value versatile for Titania. After combat, draw a card. You may discard your glamour to draw 2 cards instead. Parting Gift. After combat, you may deal 2 damage to each fighter in the combat. Whisked Away. After combat, move your fighter up to 2 spaces. You may discard your glamour. If you do, place your fighter in any space. It's pretty nice there. It's either a skirmish that's unconditional, you don't have to win, or it's a warp anywhere if you discard your glamour. Another As Wise as Beautiful. And then the Moon Looks Down, 3-value versatile. After combat, put a discarded glamour on the bottom of your glamour deck. So a few of these cards, we'll see already that Titania has extra effects she can gain by discarding her glamours, which is how she cycles through more. And technically, once her deck of glamours is out, it's out, but the Moon Looks Down, there are 2 copies of this, and it lets you choose any of your discarded glamours and put it on the bottom of your glamour deck, so you'll be able to get back some of those later in the game that you might want to get benefit out of again. Could just smack Jersey Devil. Don't hate that idea. Could actually go and try some, like, attack with Parting Gift. If we hit the Deception, he just dies. But it hit anything else, it's going to do 2 damage because he can't cancel it since we don't already have one of these in the discard. We're also going to get to move an opposing fighter when we maneuver. I don't know what we want to do with that. Everything is already in a pretty good position. Could move Blob just so he stays like on this side of the map and doesn't mess with us. Although if I move him here, he's going to put an acid on one of the drawbridge spaces, which I don't love. I guess we could just push him more towards the middle, but again, he's already in an annoying choke point, so I don't think we're going to be able to prevent that all that much. Could just hit big, though the Jersey Devil does have some big blocks. Could also just wait for Shakespeare to hit Jersey Devil, I don't hate that. We could try to get some other cards to start fighting a bit better. I really like these As Wise as Beautifuls against the Frog because it pretty much full blocks everything he's swinging with, including the card that we got hit with initially, which is usually the only one that does significant damage. I don't love any of these cards, so I think I'm gonna start with a maneuver, see what we draw into, because I doubt we'll be double attacking this turn. So let's just get some more info. Ooh, okay. This is a cool one. Gift of the Fair Folk Scheme. Choose 2 different effects. 1 fighter recovers 2 health. Draw 2 cards. Move 2 fighters up to 2 spaces each. So obviously all those effects are quite good, depending on the circumstances. This is a really cool card in co-op here because you can move any 2 fighters, so your allies, you, or the enemies, and you can also have anyone recover 2 health, including the enemies, but you probably don't want to do that. I kind of want to use the bridge as well, though. I kind of like all these cards. Alright, let's move Tarantula here. Then we will have Titania go here, Oberon go here. And then I'm going to go ahead and have Titania attack Jersey Devil with Parting Gift. Alright, Triskaidekaphobia. So, no damage from the actual combat, but then after combat I will deal 2 damage to each fighter. So we'll have Titania go down to 7, which is a little scary, but it's fine. We got the heal bridge that we're going to start using, hopefully. We're going to be a-okay. And then Jersey Devil goes down to 2. And that will be the turn. Tarantula. And the reason we moved him is because he's going to go for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern either way. And now the web will be placed here, which is a lot less annoying than there. Alright, what do we have the block with, if we even want to? Maddening Insight would be a full block, but I feel like it's wasted on them. No offense, guys, but I think I'd rather... Well, I was going to say I'd rather do it next turn, but Tarantula could be ignoring next turn, which is not good. Hamlet's not missing any health, so there's no real reason to just use that. I would say that we can just heal them, but Titania needs healing, and this bridge is potentially getting overloaded at this point. I don't necessarily want them to go out right away, but at the same time, let's just not block and hope that they're fine. Alright, 8 Legs of Terror. After combat, place a web token in Tarantula's space, then place Tarantula in the closest empty starting space. Put Tarantula's initiative card on the bottom of the initiative deck. So, they will take 3, go down to 2. And then closest empty starting space is this one. Place a web token where Tarantula was, and then their initiative card goes on the bottom of the deck. And I think Rosencrantz and Guildenstern might just be dead. Sorry guys, I probably should have blocked for you, but you know, maybe we get lucky. Maybe it's just a deception. Player 4, that is Shakespeare, so if my plan works, Jersey Devil will die before it gets to take a turn, which would be incredible. Alright, what do we got for Shakespeare? Once more onto the breach. 3 value versatile. After combat, return a defeated actor to any space in Shakespeare's zone. If this is the card that completes your line successfully as the 10th syllable, then return all defeated actors to spaces in Shakespeare's zone. 2 copies of this, so if you get both of the completion effects off, then that is going to be 2 full revives, so you could have up to 9 actors throughout the game. Revise. The best regroup in the game. It's 1 value versatile, any. After combat, draw a card. If you won the combat, draw 2 cards instead, and the completion effect, move each fighter up to 2 spaces. And this does include opposing fighters, so that can be quite strong, obviously. My Kingdom for a Horse. This is the fabled 5 value card without text, with text. 6 syllables that gains 2 actions as a completion effect. Can be quite strong, especially since there's 3 copies of this in the deck. Ides of March. I think a lot of people have seen this one as well. 2 value versatile. Completion effect is deal 2 damage to any opposing fighter. Places, 3 value any attack, and after combat move each actor up to 3 spaces. The completion effect is place Shakespeare in a zone with no actors. So that's what we're working with. Oh, of course, for the ability, for anyone who does not know yet, Iambic Pentameter. After you attack or defend, add your card to your line. When your line has 10 or more syllables, discard your line. If there are exactly 10 syllables, resolve the completion effect on the last card. So we're trying to line up these syllables to reach 10. It's whenever we play a card, so whether that's offense or defense, and there's really nice references. I really like the visual design they did for the layout on these cards to represent these syllables real nice. Well, I think that we're going to start with a maneuver because my plan is probably going to be smacking the Jersey Devil with a 5. Even if I don't gain the actions, I think I'd rather just try to get him out of here. So, and then the thing is if Jersey Devil goes and I don't kill him with a 5, I can block with Ides of March and the completion effect will kill him. So I think we have a pretty solid plan here to take down the Jersey Devil. So yeah, we will maneuver. Oh, well, there's another horse. Let's go ahead and put actor up here, actor up here, do Shakespeare there. I think we'll just keep that one there, and then Shakespeare is going to hit Jersey Devil with a horse. Forked Tail Whip. Immediately, if the opponent played a card with the same name as a card in your discard pile, cancel its effects and ignore its value. Since this is the first card we're playing as Shakespeare, that is not going to be the case. So this is going to be a 5 to a 2, and Jersey Devil is dead. We'll take 3 down to -1 and be defeated. Another funny thing that I mentioned this with the sisters, but not necessarily with Shakespeare. The cards in Shakespeare's line are also not in his discard pile yet. So even if I had played, like if this was the second horse I played, but the first one was still in my line, this would not cancel the card, which is really cool. So we got 2 anti-Jersey Devil fighters in this set, which, you know, as much as I hate Jersey Devil because he's annoying as heck, this makes me happy. We got 6 syllables in our line now, and we are ready to potentially use that Ides of March at some point. All right, this is going to be, let's see, it's either going to be Mothman, Jersey Devil, and if it's Jersey Devil, it just gets discarded. It is Mothman, because we know Tarantula's on the bottom, so that's the last card. Okay, can go for Venom or can go for Hamlet. Who has better options to block? Probably Hamlet, though if I get lower on cards with the sisters, I can use the drawbridge effectively. Though they have Prophecy in hand, so they kind of don't really need the drawbridge. So maybe it is better for Hamlet. Sure, we'll have Mothman square up to Hamlet. So don't really want to do Maddening Insight because, well, so it's interesting. Maddening Insight is good against both of the Doom cards, so maybe that is why I want to play it. I could technically get kind of screwed over if it's Feint, but if I take 2 damage, who cares? The discard doesn't really matter that much, so I don't really mind missing out on that. So yeah, I'm actually convinced. I don't really want Doom to be placed, and I think this makes it so... Oh, well, I guess I was going to say I think this makes it so no Doom can be placed here, but that's not true because one of them is just the Doom is from the auto damage from the after combat, not the card itself. But I really don't want to have him hit me with Visage because that will put a Doom on all of the bridges, which is much worse than just one of them. So we'll block with the Insight, and there's some like results that aren't great for us, but honestly it's gonna be fine overall. And thank goodness I chose to do what I did, because that is Visage. Now fortunately for us, because our printed value is not 4, even though our current value for this card is 6, since we have 6 cards in hand, the printed value is 0. So he will not ignore it, which means he will not win the combat and will not place any Doom. We did win, so we will discard the top card of Mothman's deck, which was an Overwhelming Dread, so that's fine. Honestly, I would have kind of preferred that to be there, because that's one of his less annoying cards that he can attack with, but I can't complain too much. We dodged the Visage, and that's the important part. Alright, and then we're going to have Jersey Devil's card, and he is out of here, so we'll just get rid of that. Get rid of his token over here as well. And then Tarantula is probably going to kill Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, especially since I just blocked with the only block that probably would have kept them alive against a few of Tarantula's cards. So, again, sorry, but I think you guys are done for, because Tarantula is going to be on a web, which is where all of his nasty stuff happens. Yep, goodbye, unless it's Deception. It is not. Oh my goodness. He's gonna get another turn. What the heck? Okay. So, we cannot place a web token here because there's already one there. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Goodbye. Can't use you as a batter anymore, but oh well. And then we're going to be putting him here and putting his card on the bottom of the initiative deck. Lovely day. And then he's gonna go again, because, you know, that's perfectly fair and balanced. Gonna go over here. So, this is a bit scary because we only have one block for Sister Venom here. Tarantula's not very likely to be hitting hard here, so part of me wants to take it, because then next turn I could do Pricking of My Thumbs and get some good damage on him, even if Sister Venom goes down doing so next turn. So you know what? Here goes nothing. Okay, just a 3. Cancel all effects on the opponent's cards. If Tarantula's in a space with a web, also ignore that card's value. So we're not gonna have the ignore, obviously. But that does hurt. That's half of our health. But it's fine, because the bridge will heal us up if we want. We need to definitely start doing that next round. That'll be the turn. Alright, end of round stuff. Loveland Frog is not adjacent to anyone, so will not do any damage. Blob is going to put an acid token here. Mothman is going to advance the threat by 1 since we're no doom on the board. And then Tarantula, unfortunately, is going to put a web in a very annoying place. But what can you do? And then we are going to be on to the next round. Oh, also, Loveland Frog will shuffle a Loveland Frog Strikes Again into the initiative deck. It's not a bad first round. We did lose a sidekick and took some damage on one of the sisters, but we took out Jersey Devil before it got to do anything, which is always nice. And only had one Doom advance, so... or only one spot advance on the Doom track, so I think we're in a pretty solid spot, I had to say. What do we got? We got player 1. Oh, thank goodness, that is the sisters, because I really did not want Tarantula to just go and kill Venom. And not just because Venom's me, essentially. Okay, well, we don't have anything useful right now, so let's probably start by doing Prophecy and trying to find some cards. The top 4 cards, put 2 of them in hand, the other 2 on top of the deck, in any order. Probably get to see some new cards as well. Alright, we got Fire Burning Cauldron Bubble. Immediately return a card in your discard pile to your cauldron. Pricking of My Thumbs, we've seen that one. Stars Align, we've seen that one. And Unnatural Remedy, ooh, this one's a pretty cool one. 1 value defense, immediately discard up to 3 cards from your cauldron. For each one, choose a fighter to recover 1 health. You may choose the same fighter more than once. So, few things. Obviously, since you have 3 fighters, this can essentially, whoever's blocking with this is probably going to take a good chunk because they are blocking with a 1, but you can discard to heal one of your others. So like, if I was getting attacked on Sting and I blocked with this, she's going to take some damage, but that I could discard up to 3 and maybe heal Venom, who's already hurting a bit. Theoretically, you can also heal the one being attacked since it's immediately. So let's say I had Venom being attacked, I could discard up to 3. Let's say I had 3 in Cauldron. I could discard 3 and heal her back up to full before she takes the damage over the 1 value block. So this is nice. Also, I didn't actually realize this until now, but it does say choose a fighter. So you can choose other fighters. So this is a really, really cool card in co-op as well. I love that they're leaning more into this type of wording just because I love adventures so much. And even the sets that aren't specifically for adventures, they're starting to lean into like friendly fighters and stuff more. So you can have that team play element even when you're playing fighters that don't directly come in an adventure set. So, we're not really going to be in a good spot to play Stars Align, I don't think, this turn. I kind of want to set up for an Unnatural Remedy since Venom is not in a great spot. So let's put these 2 back, because I don't think we're in a great spot to use them quite yet. And then we'll put Unnatural Remedy and Fireburn Cauldron Bubble in our hand. And then I was thinking about attacking here, but maybe it's better to do another maneuver because I want to get away from this fella. I guess I could attack him. I could attack him with the Fire Burning Cauldron Bubble, return a snake from discard to the cauldron, and then have a full value Unnatural Remedy, so if Venom does get attacked, she could discard all 3. I suppose where that goes wrong is if the card that he attacks with is the other disorienting Venom, and I get cancelled and ignored. Oh no, that won't matter because mine's immediate, so I'll still be able to do the heal, and then he'll ignore 1, which is already like, I wouldn't be blocking that well anyway. So, you know what, it feels a little bit risky, but I kind of love it. So let's attack him with Fire Burning Cauldron Bubble. This will also set us up to maybe get some value out of the drawbridge if someone can do that for us. Probably have to be Titania, because I would have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern do it, but they're dead. Alright, let's see what he blocks with. Sinister Snare. During combat, if he had attacked with this, it's the one where if he's on a web, it becomes a 6. On defense, it's only a 3. So let's go ahead and put that snake back in the cauldron. We'll get Venom's card because why not? And then no damage, which is fine. And then hey, we got 2 pieces of the of the cauldron there. And actually, I could, if I wanted to, I could cast the action gain. Nah, I think we'll wait. We will not gain the action, and we'll go ahead and end the turn there. All right. Player 4, that's going to be Shakespeare. Let's see what old William can do here. So Ides is the only, well no, I guess we could do places, but Ides is probably the more valuable effect to get off right now. What's the Leg Thrash? That's a 2, so if I attack with the Ides and it's a Leg Thrash, he will actually kind of get me. But I think we have to be okay with that. Let's go ahead and maneuver. Ooh, Such Sweet Sorrow. It's an actor only card, 4 value versatile. After combat, move your fighter up to 2 spaces, and the completion effect is draw a card. So I could go smack with that right now. Wouldn't be terrible. Could also try to get some of that auto damage off though. The only one that I'm really able to smack is the Frog, unless I go for Mothman. But I kind of want Frog to go for Titania so she can start drawing cards with her As Wise as Beautiful. And it could go in with the actor, attack the Frog with Such Sweet Sorrow, move away, draw a card. That doesn't seem bad either. Maybe that's better. Okay, let's go ahead and discard places to use the bridge, because we do need to start getting some of this healing going. We don't need to do it on Venom anymore because we've got the plan with her. So let's go ahead and get some healing on Titania. Back up to 10. And then we'll attack Frog with Such Sweet Sorrow. Hey, that's really good. 4 damage to Frog. Then move your fighter up to 2 spaces. We'll go ahead and put the actor back here. And then we will put this on our line. I don't have a lot of space over here, so these are our line right now. The card that we discarded, notably the card that we discard for the bridge, since it's discarded, it does not go to the line, because the cards only go to your line when you play them. So this is not part of the line, so we've got 6 and 4. And of course, as is tradition, we must read it out. My kingdom for a horse, such sweet sorrow. Kind of works. And then for that completion effect, we'll draw a card. Ooh, which is the one John revealed the other day with his little Wheel of Fortune game show. I'd definitely recommend checking out the VOD for that stream because it was a lot of fun. All are punished. A 4 value any attack that has after combat, deal 1 damage to each other fighter in your zone, and you do draw a card for the completion effect. Now this does say each other fighter, so it can hit you with friendly fire, so keep that in mind, especially if you use it when there are other actors in your zone, you will kill them all, so try not to do that. Unless for some reason you want to, which maybe there will be game states where you want to, but most of the time you're not going to. This reshuffles back into the deck along with the other cards in the discard pile. And then I think that will be the turn for Shakespeare. 4 damage on the frog is very nice there. I was expecting to do like, you know, a couple damage, but deception when you're hidden with a 4 is ideal, I would say. Alright, we got the blob. Gonna go for Hamlet over here. Does Hamlet want to block? I think so, because I think we really want to set up the drawbridge. So let's go ahead and block with pricking of my thumbs. I could theoretically, I was going to say I could theoretically block with the Unnatural Remedy and heal Venom now, but I think I want to save that for the spider, because I think that's going to work out better. So we'll block with this and hope that the blob hits for a lot. He does not, but that's fine. So it's getting bigger. He adds 1 to the value of this card for each acid token in his zone, which is currently 1. So that will be a 3, so at least he'll take a damage. So we each take 1. 1 on the blob. And then 1 on Sister. That's Sting. Hold on. This is Howlet. 1 on Mitosis there. Alright. That goes to the Cauldron. And so this is actually a really interesting thing too now, because if we do Unnatural Remedy, we can discard up to 3 cards from the Cauldron and we heal for each one. It doesn't even have to be unique symbols. So now, since we're a little bit overstocked on the Cauldron, since the most that you'll need to cast a spell is 3 for the action gain, we can use some of these to get the healing and then not miss out on spell value, essentially. That is the blob. Mothman. It's going to be smacking Hamlet. I kind of like going for an Outrageous Fortune here, for similar reasons as last time. I think we're going to do Outrageous Fortune. Oh, Mothman has been defeated. Yeah, we'll do Outrageous Fortune. Okay. Unimaginable Terror. That is not that bad. Let's see what we get with the boost. Ooh, okay. The rest is silence. So, say 2 value block for Hamlet. The rest is silence. After combat, end the turn. So we've got like a trash talk. It does not cancel, but it also does not have the end the turn conditional on winning. So that will always end the turn unless it's like canceled by a feint or something of the like. So if your opponent has an after combat effect, it does kind of work as a cancel. It also will stop abilities that happen after an attack, like Robin Hood's Hop, for instance. It will not stop end of turn stuff like Bruce Lee's Move a Space or Bigfoot's Draw if he's not in an opposing fighter's zone. But it will stop after combat effects from on the attacker's card from resolving. So a pretty neat card. You are likely taking damage though, since it's only 2 value block. But Hamlet's pretty beefy, and we've already seen a decent amount of healing, so you can kind of offset that to a degree. Here, we are not going to be losing the combat since we did get a boost up to 4. So that's going to be no damage from the combat, which means we do not get the rest of silence to our hand, which is a little bit of a shame because that would actually be good against a couple of Mothman's effects. In fact, if I blocked Unimaginable Terror with this, I would take 2 damage, but I would not resolve the after combat of Mothman's because it would end the turn. And then we will take 1 damage from the after combat there, down to 14. And then we add a Doom to the lowest bridge. And unfortunately, since the sisters have already gone, I do not think we're going to be able to get rid of that Doom, but oh well. Oh, and this should be on too. There we go. Okay, that's Mothman. Tarantula. Well, we know what's happening here. We are blocking with Unnatural Remedy. And I think this should be good against pretty much everything it's got going on. Yep. Alright, we got the other 6, so fortunately, since ours is immediate, we are going to get to do that first. So we're putting a snake in so we can get rid of both of these snakes, because we won't need them. And then as far as what we have in hand, we have a Prophecy, so because of that, I think I'm going to discard that one as well, just so we keep the unique symbols that we need. Heal 3 on Venom, because I think she's going to need it. And then we're going to be taking 5. Oh yeah, if we don't heal all 3 on Venom, she'll just die here because we're taking 5. Down to 1, but still holding on. That goes to the Cauldron. These are in the discard pile. And that will be the Tarantula's turn. Loveland Frog. He's going to go for Titania. And I think we just want to block with this. It's either that or no block, but I do want to draw cards. So we'll block with As Wise as Beautiful. And there we go. Deception. Would have rather had that, obviously, if I was to attack him. But no damage. So we're going to discard our Glamour. So Glamour of Love is going to go to our Glamour discard pile here. And at the start of our next turn, we'll get a new one. And no matter which one it is, it'll be a new one for everyone to see, because Love was the only one that was as part of the reveal season. What do we got? Alright, we got another Gift of the Fair Folk, so we got lots of healing, which is nice. And then Protection of the Fairy Woods. 2-value block in any. Immediately you may discard your Glamour. If you do, cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So this is her Feint. It can be used by either her or Oberon. It is a defense only, so that does come up sometimes when you can't offensively feint against certain fighters. Obviously, if you get attacked twice in a turn, you can't cancel both of them since you don't get a new Glamour until the start of your next turn. There are some conditional things there, but it is another way for you to cycle your Glamour, which is nice. It does also mean that she does not have access to a cancel on her first turn of the game, similar to Jill, because her cancel is predicated on her having her Hypnoreg gadget active, and her gadget does not start active, just like Titania does not start with a Glamour face up. So you might be able to take advantage of that, especially with a fighter that wants to get an effect off on the first turn and she can't stop him. Player 2, that is Titania. So let's get our new Glamour. Glamour of Rhyme. Oh man, this is the perfect one for our hand right now. After you play a scheme, gain 1 action. So, not only does this let us play Gift of the Fair Folk, getting 2 of these effects and then gain an action, we could theoretically draw 4 cards right now, heal 4 health, and gain an action each time, and have our full turn still to do. And honestly, looking at what's going on here, we might end up doing something like that. But remember, Titania also has the now common card, Momentary Glance. And so Momentary Glance is usually really good because it's a 2 damage scheme that's also a pass. So it's kind of like a double pass if you go long term for exhaustion purposes. That's usually really good. And you can still use it like that in her deck as long as you don't have the Glamour of Rhyme active. But there are times where you would want Momentary Glance to gain an action so you can still do other stuff. So I found it to be really cool when you can just chain a bunch of schemes together for her. Okay, let's see. We have lots of options now. That was, honestly, I was hoping that was the Glamour we got. I think I'm just going to start with a Gift of the Fair Folk and see where it takes us. So let's go ahead and choose 1 fighter recovers 2 health. We're going to help Sister Venom out over here because she's in a bad way. And I think we're going to draw 2 cards because drawing cards is great. Ooh, okay. All right, we're cooking with gas now. So I've got Met by Moonlight. This is a 5-value Oberon attack, and after combat you place Oberon in a space adjacent to Titania. So just a really cool attack there. Art is absolutely amazing. It's actually the same art that's on Glamour of Love, but there's only a snippet of it on Glamour of Love, so this is like the full piece, and it looks... I mean, Titania's art is just amazing all around. And then Fairy Song. During combat, you may discard your Glamour. If you do, the value of this card is 5 instead, so it's her shift, essentially. So we got 2 5s there, which is nice. And unlike shift, this can consistently be a 5 on defense, so that's something to note as well. Yeah, we're going to play another one. We're going to heal Sister Venom again, because I'd rather her not die now that the 6s are out of the way. I don't think she can get one-shot by the Tarantula, even if it goes before her now, so... Yep, that should keep her safe. And then I don't think we need to move anyone, so let's just draw 2 more cards. I mean, I could move her away, for instance, but nah, we want cards. Cards are great. All right, we got another fairy song and then another As Wise as Beautiful. Now, of course, the thing that you might be noticing here is we have 2 of these, we have 2 of these, and we have 1 of these. All of these want us to discard our glamours to get their extra effects. And if we attacked with one right now, obviously we can't attack with this, but if we attacked with one of these other ones and discarded our glamour, we would not have it for any of our opponent's turns. And now in Adventures, Titania could go first like next round, so she might not have that long till she gets a new glamour. But in normal 1v1 play, you're going to have an entire turn of your opponent's without something active if you use the glamour in your turn. So it's figuring out kind of the balance between getting your extra effects and keeping glamours up for effects on your opponent's turn. But there's a lot of times where, you know, you can use something like As Wise as Beautiful and not use the glamour. Like, you're gonna have to choose where you use them and where you hold them, which is the really fun part about her kit, in my opinion. All right, so we've played two of those. We actually still have 2 actions left. So let's start with Oberon smacking the frog, because we're here and he's annoying. Yep, there's Emerge from the Swamp. He's going to be blocking for 1 here, so 4 damage, so down to 2. And then place Loveland Frog in the closest empty starting space, then deal 1 damage to each adjacent opposing fighter. I would rather not have a Shakespeare and an actor take a damage for no reason, so we'll put the frog there. And then no damage dealt since no one's adjacent to him. Oh, no, none of our fighters. It only deals damage to opposing fighters. And then Oberon goes adjacent to Titania. Let's put him... We still have an action, so unfortunately we can't put him anywhere where he can attack again. So we'll just put him there and be done with that action. Then I guess we're just gonna maneuver, and I guess we'll end up using the covered bridge maneuver. Yeah, because then we won't overdraw either. Ooh, Queen of the Fairies. Not great now, it's only a 3. If we were to discard a glamour, like on one of our opponent's turns here, it would be up to a 4, but obviously you want this thing to be boosted up. This is the one that we revealed on the Winner of Champions Grand Finals stream. Queen of the Fairies, during combat, increase the value of this card by +1 for each glamour in your glamour discard pile. So this can be an 8 once you have all 6 of your glamours discarded. So definitely a very nice finisher. And you have some printed 4s to like potentially mix up against feints and stuff, so you can eventually get this through. Okay, we'll go here and here, and then we will get rid of, I don't think we need all of these, so we'll ditch one of the As Wise as Beautiful and use the bridge. We could put Venom back up to full, but if we get to the sister's turn and they attack at some point, then they can already do the healing themselves. And I think at 5 she's safe from the tarantula. So I think we'll heal Titania for 2 back to full. Looks good to me. I'm also realizing that if I had wanted to with the fair folks, I could have moved Sister Venom off of here and then maybe tried to move either Titania or Oberon close enough to remove this doom, but I don't think it matters all that much. But it's just a cool thing, like add into the cool plays that you can do with characters in this set and their cards. Alright, Loveland Frog gets to go again. Forgot about that part. That's fine, we'll just have him go for Titania. Because he's 2 away from Actor, Venom, and Titania. Yeah, so we'll have him go for Titania, and I guess we'll just block with Wise, because it'll basically just cancel out. Yep, and that's why we want to block, because that one would have dealt a lot of damage otherwise. I mean, 3 isn't the worst, but still. So, Leg Thrash is going to do no damage, and then we will just draw 1. Don't need to draw the extra one with our glamour. Hey, a Gift of the Fair Folk, that's quite good while we still have the gain in action on our schemes glamour. And then that'll be Frog. And yeah, just going back to Titania, one of the things that I kind of mentioned when I did her reveal for her ability card was that she only has 12 health, Oberon only has 6 health, so it seems like they're squishy, but there's 3 of these in the deck. So if you put all of them on Titania, for instance, she's got like 18 health. Obviously Oberon can get some of that healing as well. So definitely not as squishy as they might seem at first. It is reliant on drawing into the schemes at some point in the game, but you know, between that and her ability to block fairly well, especially if you're using your glamours, like discarding your glamours to get the extra effects on your cards, she's fairly resilient overall. But yeah. Player 3. It's gonna be Hamlet. Part of me wants to go in and just start smacking. Could try to smack the frog. Frog's pretty low. If we go like, if we choose not to be and then attack with to sleep perchance to dream, we probably kill the frog. But another part of me wants to help the sisters out because they have 1 card in hand and it's prophecy. So let's see, if we choose to be and we boost to get there, we'd have to boost with a 2. We have a couple 2s already, we might draw into more. We would boost with a 2, we'd be at 6 cards. We'd maneuver again to 8 cards, and then we'd discard 1 to the drawbridge, so we would not overdraw. So yeah, let's choose to be. Hamlet's just running support right now, but don't worry, he'll start hitting real hard, not too far into the future. Yep, so we'll choose to be. We'll maneuver. Alright, we got another method in madness, and another that plays the thing. Kind of want to hold on to this because he can eventually just start tanking hits. I think we're not really going to need the method and the madnesses in this game, or at least not all 3 of them. So we will discard that for a boost. And then, yeah, might as well maneuver again before, because we're not going to do that twice, because currently the only fighter that can benefit off of it is the sisters. They're the only ones below 4 cards. So yeah, we'll maneuver again, draw 2. We got Cruel to be Kind, which is the 2 value that can be boosted. Now, obviously, if you chose not to be, this is a 4 by default. And you have a decent number of 3 boosts in the deck, and there's obviously the 4 boost, though there are only 2 copies of this, and it's the only 4 boost. So you could do 1/8 if you use both of them, but I think most of the time it's going to be better to use each of them separately. So you can have 2 7s, ideally, if you use a 3 boost to boost this up. And if your opponent feints it, you don't have to spend the extra card, and you still do 2 damage over feint since it'd be a 4, so pretty good in the deck. And then we got another to sleep perchance to dream. We'll go... I think we're actually going to stay here, just so Hamlet has the option of taking the attack from the blob, so the sisters aren't being harassed too much. And then I think... part of me wants to get rid of Uncertain Doom, because it's basically a blank 4. But I think we'll get rid of one of the to sleep perchance to dreams, because this is a bigger boost, so it would let me move around more and potentially discard a larger amount of doom from a bridge at some point. So we'll get rid of one of those and use the drawbridge to let the sisters draw 3, because they're at 1 card currently. So we know the next 2 are Stars Align and Pricking of My Thumbs, and then the 3rd card, ooh, Curious Familiar. 2 value, versatile. After combat, return a card in your cauldron to your hand. So there is a little bit of recursion from the cauldron as well. I believe this card is the only one that does it. But yeah, you can kind of see you can combo together Fireburn and Cauldron Bubble, get something from discard, and then Curious Familiar can get that from the cauldron to hand. So those 2 can kind of fetch you cards back that you've used. And then obviously the Curious Familiar can also just by itself get back anything that's currently in the cauldron. Cool. So we've got that. I think that is going to be Hamlet's turn, and that is the last turn of the round, so we'll do end of round stuff. Blob is already on an acid. Mothman will advance by 2 since we did not clear this here. Tarantula is already on a web. Loveland Frog is next to Titania, so she will take 1, and then he'll shuffle another Strikes again into the initiative deck. Alright, so we've almost got our second minion down. Probably could have taken him down if we had gone for the frog on Hamlet's turn there, but again, I think we want to prevent the sisters from being in a nasty spot. Frog will certainly go down this round, and then we'll try and maybe hit some damage into the Tarantula. Tarantula doesn't have too many cards left in deck, so it's going to be hitting that Deception pretty soon. Mothman. Not next to anyone right now, and is one away from exactly one person, so Sister Sting is going to be taking the attack here. Stars Align is currently a 4. I kind of like Curious Familiar. The reason that I don't love it is he still hasn't used either of his feints. Let's go for this. I think it's I'm looking at my symbols now. It doesn't bode great for our symbols, but I think it's fine. Or ingredients, sorry. Gotta use the proper terminology. Yep, there's the feint. That's fine. Stars Align would have been funny because I would have actually taken 2 still. No damage to him, but I wasn't going to do any damage even if he didn't cancel the effect because he wouldn't have been dealing any to me. I might actually get back pricking of my thumbs. It's either that or Unnatural Remedy, I think. Just because they're both quite good defensive cards with that familiar effect. Alright. Blob. I think we'll probably have him go for Hamlet. I guess the Blob doesn't have any cancels, so we could have him go for Hamlet and she could block with like the Curious Familiar. Actually, I kind of like that. Okay. Let's have Blob attack Hamlet and we'll block with Curious Familiar. Yep, it's getting bigger. That's only going to be 1. So Hamlet goes down to 4. Ooh, I'm just realizing now that I missed the second part of that effect earlier. Those should have been there from the one that he played last round. So this would instead be a 5. I think it's unlikely I would have had Hamlet be the one to block here, but what's done is done, so she'll go down to 2. It's fine. We got healing. And actually, I think I'm probably going to get the healing back now. Just to have that as an option with the familiar. I think that's fine. Actually gives us a pretty good block with Venom if Tarantula goes first, because we can block with this, discard cards to heal Howlet, and then be in a fine spot. Yep, alright. Man, the sisters are so cool. There's so many things to consider with their sequencing and their spells. I also really like, compared to the Raptors, if one of them goes down, you definitely lose some effectiveness because you have less positioning and they're melee fighters, but you don't actually lose any effectiveness from their ability or their card effects. I mean, other than like Stars Align. Stars Align is the big one because you can't be in as many zones with less fighters, but unlike Raptors lose a lot of efficiency if you take out even one of the Raptors, whereas the sisters, I think, can weather the storm a bit better. And even though they have less health individually than the Raptors do, they're quite tanky because their blocks are pretty solid and they have a lot of healing, as you've seen. And they can kind of split it out amongst themselves and try and keep each of them alive longer. So really, really cool. Titania is up. Okay, that's good because she could actually heal one of the sisters as well. Could do like Gift of the Fair Folk and then try to kill Frog Boy. I think I like that. Let's go with Gift of the Fair Folk. Put that out there for now. Let's go ahead and heal 2 on Sister Howlet. And draw 2 for Titania. Alright, we got another Fairy Song and another Whisked Away. Gain an action because of our glamour. And then yeah, let's use a Whisked Away on the frog. Unfortunately, he will survive. We'll take 1 since he has a 3-value block. He does not win the combat though, so no damage back. And then I actually am gonna go 1, 2. I don't think we're gonna waste 1 damage on the frog here for Titania. Or like, we're not gonna use one of Titania's things to kill the frog because I think it'd be mostly a waste. I think I want to smack the blob with Fairy Song. And yeah, that looks good to me. We'll hit the blob with that. Since we are ranged for Titania, which is really cool. Alright, Caustic Spray. So that's going to be 3 damage to the blob. And then blob is going to have after combat deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter for each acid token on or adjacent to their space. So that'll be 1 each to Hamlet and Sister Hamlet. Hamlet down to 3, Hamlet down to 13, Blob down to 6. And we had to discard our glamour to do that, so that one is gone, but we've used all of our fair folks, and we got some good value there. Alright, that is Titania's turn. Player 3, that's going to be Hamlet. Alright, I think it's going to be time to smack this blob into the ground, don't you think? We've been biding our time for a while now. Let's go ahead and choose not to be. And what do we want to start with? I think it's either Plays the Thing or Cool to Be Kind, and I think I like the big hit better since Blob still has quite a bit of health. And actually, if we hit a Deception, we could just kill him here with this one hit, whereas the 5 would not be enough to kill him. Alright, it's not going to be the Deception, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and boost that with the Method in the Madness. So that's going to be a 7 into the 3, so 4 damage, Blob down to 2. Blob has 3 cards left, so 1 in 3 of hitting the Deception. Let me check what the other cards he's used already are, just because if we know it's likely to kill, we can go for it here. Okay, so we actually have not seen the other card. It's the big explosion one where it's the 4 value attack. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 1 value defense. So I think his 3 cards left are 1 value defense, 1 value defense, 0 value defense. So I think if we just smack him again, he's dead. I guess we could attack with Uncertain Doom now, because to sleep perchance the dream is wasted. Since we technically only need 3 damage. Or like a 3 value attack, since he can only block for 1 and he has 2 health left. So yeah, actually, let's just hit him with the Uncertain Doom. And it's just Deception. Pulling the other one to see. That's a 2 value block, so actually the 4 was perfect for the Acidic Explosion. But this will be 4 into the Deception, down to -2 technically, but he is out. And he didn't put too many acids out there. Get him out of the turn order as well. And then that'll be Hamlet's turn. Oh, and something that I missed: when you choose not to be, you have to deal 2 damage to one of your fighters, so he would have taken 2 from that. Alright, Loveland Frog strikes again, eh? Titania's the target. I mean, I think I'm just gonna take it. I think both the leg thrashes are out of the way. Yeah, so the most I can take is like 2 here. That's fine by me. Yep, there's 2. 2 to Titania. She goes down to 9. And then he's gonna go to the closest starting space, which is either the middle or over here. Who do I want to try to kill him? Probably one of this, or yeah, either Shakespeare or one of the sisters will put him in the center then. No one adjacent to damage. That'll be him. I guess he'll probably go again before we get to go, or not. Sisters are up. We're not in a good spot to throw out a Stars Align into the Tarantula, so we'll just maneuver. Okay, this card is amazing. I love this card so much. Something Wicked, This Way Comes. Not only is it the awesome art that's similar to their card back, but it's a scheme that says cast any spell, then cast a different spell. Do not discard any cards from your cauldron to cast these spells. So you essentially just get to choose 2 of the spell effects here and resolve them in whatever order you want. Let's go here. Here. I think we're just going to start sacrificing actors. Sounds like a plan to me. We still have the Once More Into the Breach to revive them. And then we'll play Something Wicked, This Way Comes. Cast any spell, then cast a different spell. So we're going to cast the one that requires the wing and the bat. Deal 1 damage to a fighter that shares a zone with any of your fighters. So Loveland Frog is dead. Because he was at 1, he's now at nothing. Get him out of here. Get that out of here. I haven't been flipping these over. I forgot they have the fun little defeated sides. And then I think we'll probably do the draw card. One of our fighters recovers a health. Yeah, because we're still a little bit banged up on Hamlet. Could also gain an action. But I think we're kind of looking fine with our hand as it is. We have the Unnatural Remedy with a lot of redundant symbols in our cauldron. So yeah, let's go ahead and draw a card. Ooh, there's double. Ooh, and that's nice that we're keeping some stuff in our cauldron because this will get powered up now. There's Monty. And then we'll recover 1 health on probably just Howlet. Put her back to 4. And that will be the sisters. Tarantula. This actor is about to get nommed on. Actor could block with like the revise. It would let me like set up 4 plus another 4 to complete a line, but I think I'd rather do a 4 in one of these 6s. So yeah, we'll just have the actor take it. I mean, technically the actor could survive if it's deception, but it's not. So actor down, and that'll be Tarantula. There's only 1 card left, so the last card is deception. So hopefully we can get a big hit on him before he goes. Loveland Frog is out. I said Loveland Frog is out. Stop trying to come back to the party, man. You're not invited. Alright, Shakespeare it is. Well, I guess we could get a 5 into him. Yeah, we'll maneuver. I guess if we draw something better, we could use that instead. Ooh, this is a cool one. A 2 Brute. During combat, increase the value of this card by +1 for each of your fighters adjacent to the opposing fighter. And then the completion effect is place each of your fighters in any space. So it's an any. And I will note that if you're adjacent, so if you're either attacking with this or you're blocking against a fighter who's adjacent to you, this will be a 4. So it's kind of like Jaws, where a lot of the time this will often be a 4. And it can be up to a 7 if you have all 4 of your fighters adjacent to the opponent. So really cool card there. And then being able to place each of your fighters in any space is also very, very strong, of course, for the completion effect. So I could hit him for a 5 undefended, a 4 undefended, a 4 undefended that does 1 auto damage as long as I don't have anyone else in the zone. Titania, I suppose, will take a damage, but I could like send the actor over, move Shakespeare and the other actor out. So I guess this is a 5, just like this is a 5. So maybe this one's just better. Yeah, because I could still potentially get the action gain here. Yeah, that's better. So we'll move here. We will put Shakespeare here, actor here. Do I want to do the healing? I am about to hit Titania, so maybe I should help her out a little bit. As much as it pains me, this is not Full Send Friday, so I guess we will ditch Revise to activate the bridge and heal 3 off of Titania. Back to 12, full health. And then we'll have the actor attack Tarantula with All Are Punished. And that's going to be the deception. So 4 to Tarantula from the attack, and then 1 from the after combat down to 5. Titania takes 1 down to 11. This gets reshuffled along with the rest of the discard, and then this goes into the line. 4 syllables at the moment. And then end of round stuff, we're going to have Mothman advance by 2. And Tarantula will put a web here. I would absolutely love if we could stop this from advancing this next round. All we need to do is make sure that Mothman doesn't place any new doom and that we clear the one that's already there. Or Mothman goes before at least some of our fighters and we clear any doom that he puts on during his turn. That is going to be everything. Made some really good progress that round, of course, taking out 2 of the 3 remaining minions, as well as getting half of Tarantula's HP gone. Mothman still untouched, but that will not remain the case for very much longer. We're about to start beating up on him. Well, he has something to say about that first, but honestly, I think this is fine because theoretically this lets us clean up whatever he puts out. Stars Align is a 4 right now, so that would stop Stars Align would stop Visage from putting one on each bridge, and honestly, putting one on each bridge is a lot more annoying right now. If we have Shakespeare go, we could block with once more onto the breach, but that would kind of be wasted because we'd only be returning one actor even though we're getting the completion effect. So I think we're going to have Mothman go for Sister Sting. And I think, as much as I would like to hold on to Stars Align on offense, I think blocking with it here is just better. Because if I block with Unnatural Remedy and it is Visage, I'm going to feel real stupid. And I'm fine taking like a feint here because it's not going to kill Sting. She's still at full health. And if I take 2 damage, whatever. Obviously, if it's a feint, the Unnatural Remedy is better because I'd still get the healing. And then I'd get 3 healing and only take 1. So I'd be netting health. But I think this is the better case scenario. This also does put the only symbol we don't have yet in our cauldron in the cauldron, so double becomes a 6. And that also gets around Visage, which normally big value attacks are not good into Visage. Alright, it's Terror, so this is fine. We're full blocking the attack itself, and then after combat it's going to deal 1 to Sting, and put 1 Doom on the bridge. And that is perfectly fine because we can easily get rid of 2 on there and be good for that for the round. Goes into the cauldron, this goes into the discard, and that's Mothman. Shakespeare. Okay. I think I really just want to smack him. Well, we're gonna maneuver first either way. Hey, there's horror. And hey, this is something that has been shown off recently, or at least hinted at. I think there was art on the artist's page for some old art for it. Oh, and here it is actually. Or no, that's another one. Okay, you're getting a sneak peek here, but this is another one of the horrors. This one might actually be my favorite. But I was pulling this out to get the artist here, Zoe Van Dyke, I think. Might not be pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm not Zoe, but obviously really great artist. And had a preview up of an old image that had a different horror design than the one that I revealed, which was the bats in the background. And this is another one, the spider. This one's freaky, honestly. It's probably the freakiest one. Each of the 5 horrors has a different design around the skull, and it's one of the coolest things. Honestly, if the witches didn't have the 3 cards that combined into one big image, this might be the coolest thing, but they're very close. Like, there's so much cool stuff with the art in this set. So yeah, horror right now is not amazing, so we'll probably hold off on that. I think we're still on the horse plan. Actually, at this point, I think once more into the breach is not like the most useful. I've been able to keep most of the actors on the board now. The tarantula is probably going to eat up one of the actors here. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and what if we just like go crazy? Mothman's already gone. We have the rest of our fighters still to go. So what if we just get a little bit wacky with it? I think I like this plan. Let's go ahead and boost with horror. Let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Let's get rid of Ides, or sorry, this is a discard. Then let's ditch Ides to use the bridge. Get rid of the 2 Doom. Reveal the top 2 cards for Mothman. Visage and Terror. This is a little annoying because this is like the sequence that really punishes what I was trying to do. I was kind of hoping to see Feint, because so full plan was I wanted to see Feint here. Feint or Deception would have been fine. I wanted to see Feint or Deception because I could play Kingdom for a horse. If that goes into a Feint, it does 3 damage, and the completion effect still happens because that doesn't get cancelled because that's part of the line. And then I was going to attack with a 2 Brute and once more into the breach as my 2 actions, and then be empty-handed, and then have one of the other characters draw me back up to 4 on their turn. Unfortunately, if I go for Terror, it's going to kill the actor, so Brute gets worse. It's going to hit Sting, and it's going to hit Shakespeare, and it's going to put 3 Doom up here, which is like the exact opposite of what I want to happen. So because these are the two cards, and this was like the worst case scenario, we'll still get rid of Terror, we'll keep this on top, and we're slightly altering our plan. It's still going to be fine, we're just not going to be able to get to do fun horse shenanigans. So we'll attack with Brute into Mothman. You know what? Have the actor do it, because, you know... Well, now we'll have Shakespeare do it, because actually the actors have been doing most of the work so far. Alright. So, into Visage. Fortunately, because even though our value is a 5, the printed is 3, so that's going to be 4 damage to Mothman, and he's not going to get hit either of his effects. Down to 36. And then that's going to go to our line. We have 8 syllables right now, so we're going to want one of those 2-syllable cards. Hopefully we can find one before we need to play another card. Fortunately, he also is out of terrors right now, so he can't like take advantage of the fact that 3 of us are adjacent to him. Okay. Not ideal what I wanted to do, but still a pretty good turn. Tarantula. I think that actor is really dead. Unless we hit a deception. Yep, can't even use either of the cards in hand for the actor. It is deception, alright. So if I'd gone for Tarantula, whether I had used the suspension bridge on him or not, with the horse, I would have killed Tarantula since deception was the top card, and I could have just discarded the other card below it and then kept it there. So a little bit unfortunate that we could have gone for the kill there, but hey, you know, this actor is just keeping the big spider busy, so it's not even that much of a concern right now, honestly. Player 1, that's going to be the Sisters. What do we got for them? Oh yeah, we got the double-double. That's pretty nice. Unfortunately, Mothman still has a feint, so that would be pretty rough into that. And he doesn't actually have any Visages, which is... This does 5 into Visage, which is amazing. So we want to try to set that up if we can, so we'll probably hold off on that. Let's Prophecy. Alright, so we see a lot of cards that we've already seen here. We've got Something Wicked This Way Comes, Stars Align, Unnatural Remedy, and then Ward, which is one we haven't seen yet. It's a 3-value versatile. Love the art on this one. I feel like I'm saying that all the time, but it's just true. After combat, place the opposing fighter in any space in your fighter's zone. It's a little bit of movement there, both either on offense or defense. Let's go ahead and grab... Actually put another Unnatural Remedy on top, because now I can hopefully like use a bunch of these before I actually cast the spell. So we'll put those 2 in hand, and then we'll maneuver. Draw the other Unnatural Remedy. Go here. I'm going to go here, because I have a plan for next turn. And then we'll discard Ward to use the bridge. That does actually go to the Cauldron still. And we'll let Shakespeare draw till he has 4. Hey, there's the horror that I revealed, the bats. And then another Brute. Okay. Ooh, okay, so horror is our 2-syllable card that we were looking for. So if we can use this, this will be just a 4-value attack because we don't have any other horrors in our line at the moment, but then it will deal 2 damage after combat, or not after combat, from the line completion effect, since there are 2 other cards in the line. Alright, and that'll be Sisters. It's going to be Titania. We get a new Glamour. Glamour of Invisibility. Your fighters may move through opposing fighters. Quite a cool one. And that's just like a blanket effect, so that's during maneuvers, during movement from card effects, like Whisked Away. Yeah, anything that would let you move. Whenever you're moving, you can move through opposing fighters. I kind of like just the idea of continuing to try and get stuff built up for the big Queen of the Fairies later on. So let's go ahead and I guess we have to maneuver since we're not actually in Mothman's zone at the moment. Ooh, there's Momentary Glance. Unfortunately, we don't have the Glamour of Rhyme anymore, so we can't use that for free, like without spending an action. I think I'll still keep Oberon in the area, because he can still potentially get to Mothman if we draw a card for him. But yeah, we'll smack Mothman with the Fairy Song, and hope to hit like a Deception, I guess. And we do. Yeah, we'll get rid of the glamour of invisibility. In addition to just wanting to hit Mothman as hard as possible right now, they're also, like, Mothman's the only enemy on the board, so being able to move through him doesn't seem as relevant as it would have been when the minions were still around. So Mothman down to 31. He's going to reshuffle his discard pile, and we'll get a new glamour next turn. And then last one is going to be Hamlet. Unfortunately, everyone's kind of in the way. And I think we've used all of our 3 boost, so we can't quite reach Mothman. Yeah, we need to be moving 5. We're also 5 away from Tarantula, so it's a bit awkward. We might just be choosing to B this turn. We are a little bit low on cards generally, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yeah, let's choose to B. We'll maneuver. Draw 2. Got another Maddening Insight, and then the Readiness is all. 2 value versatile. After combat, place one of the fighters in the combat in any space. They cannot leave that space this turn. So, since this is an any card, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern can use this. Like, if you attack first action with them, you can move the opposing fighter next to Hamlet and second action attack, which is really good on a turn you chose not to be, of course. Where do we want to go? Probably just set up to get there next turn. And actually, we can set up to get to either Mothman or Tarantula, wherever we think is better. And then we'll maneuver again, draw 2 cards. Another Outrageous Fortune, and To Sleep Perchance a Dream. Let's go here, and then do, well, we're gonna have to discard a card anyway, so we might as well use the bridge effect to move someone somewhere. Go ahead and ditch. I don't actually think this one's going to be that useful at this point, so we'll ditch Readiness is all. And use the bridge effect. The Trust Bridge lets us move any fighter up to 3 spaces. I think I actually want to move the Tarantula here, so we can just beat up on him. Including Hamlet, like, could potentially double attack. Alright, end of round, Mothman. 1. Tarantula, Web. And shuffle up. Clear 2 Titania. Okay. Well, we get a new glamour. Glamour of Sleep. Your fighters do not take damage other than combat damage. So this is essentially Khonshu. And actually, looking at it so far, we have, these 2 are unique effects, like, that we haven't really seen as part of an ability before. And then this is basically Buffy, but it applies to your sidekick as well. And then Glamour of Sleep is basically Khonshu. It's cool that we're kind of pulling different mechanics from different fighters, and it's variable what extra ability you're going to have at any given time. A thing to note, which is actually very interesting, is there's basically the totally sane thing to do in this deck. This was something that I didn't even realize till the first time I was playing her. But Parting Gift, if you have the Glamour of Sleep, your fighter will not take this damage, just the opposing fighter will, so that's a cool interaction. This also does stop exhaustion damage, so this is one that you might want to cycle back near the end of a game with, like, the Moon Looks Down, because having that at the end of the game when you're potentially empty deck is going to be really nice, of course. Alright, I think we're going to, with all that being said, I think we're going to Fairy Song and just try to hit Tarantula with a 5 and kill him, or at least get him within range to die. As long as this does 3 damage, we can finish him off with the Momentary Glance, or he just dies because it's a deception. Farewell, Tarantula. You were on a web and everything and did not help you. That will get rid of our glamour. And he's gone. Oh, we still have one more action. Indeed we do. Could smack Mothman. Don't love it though. I kind of want a suspension bridge before I smack him. Plus I don't really have anything good to smack him with. I don't want to return a glamour because I want to set up for this to be really good. The 4 could get hit by Visage and that would be a disaster. So yeah, we'll just glance him. 2 damage, why not? We could maneuver something or use a bridge, but I think we just get some damage in on him while we can. Down to 29. Alright, who's next? It's gonna be Hamlet. Hamlet is set up to go for Mothman if he wants. And I think he wants. So let's go ahead and choose not to be. Which will mean we take 2 damage. Well, maneuver. Oh my. Well, we have all 3 plays the things. I think that's probably what we're attacking with. So we'll go 1, 2. This will more than likely heal us. Or we'll just deal a bunch of damage if he like faints it. And we have 3 of them, so yeah, let's go ahead and hit with that. Okay. Well, this is great. So during combat, we increase the value by 1 for each destroyed bridge. He has not destroyed any bridges yet, so just a 2. And we're attacking with a 5, so he's going to take 3, down to 26. And we did win, so we discard a random card, which is just the top card of his deck in this case. Ooh, wow. That's really good. Because Visage is an annoying card, and that's a 3 boost, so we're going to heal for 3. So we dealt 3, healed 3. Seems good. Got rid of one of his best cards, too. Alright. Love that. It's Hamlet's turn. Mothman is up. I think I want him to attack Sting, honestly. Hamlet actually maybe is the better one, because I'm worried about the other Visage. I guess we're going to do Insight, and if he faints it, that's fine. But this stops Visage, doesn't take any direct damage from Terror. And it is Terror, that's the one I really didn't want, but we didn't have any way to stop that. If I had the rest is Silence for Hamlet, I would have been able to stop it, but did not draw that. 6 cards in hand, so it's a 6 value block. So no damage. Since we won the combat, he's going to discard a card, which is Faint. And then he's going to deal 1 to Hamlet, 1 to Shakespeare, Hamlet down to 11, Shakespeare down to 12, 1 to Sting, Sting down to 4, and the actor is going to die. And he's going to put 4 Doom on that bridge. That's not great, but at least we can clear some of it. I think we do want to probably clear a bit of it at least, if possible, because that's like half the Doom. And if we run out of Doom, like if we have to place Doom and we run out, it's game over. This is going to advance no matter what, because he always does at least 1, so even if we cleared it all, he'll still advance. So that part doesn't matter, but clearing the Doom will. It's going to be the Sisters. Okay. Well, this is kind of cute. So let's start with a maneuver. Really wish we had another 3 boost that wasn't the really good scheme. But I guess that's fine. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to waste all of the cards in my cauldron. I was really hoping to have used some of the unnatural remedies by now, but it just hasn't lined up well to do so. So the cute thing that I can do is I can go here because it's like the actor's on here, so it doesn't stop me because I can't stop on somewhere where an ally is, but I can move through them. So I can go 1, 2, and then I have to stop here. And then I'll probably want to go like here. And I think keep Sting there. Because what I want to do now is I want to use the bridge and try to hit Mothman with like this or this. Probably the double-double, since Stars Align can be big even when I don't have stuff in the cauldron. Stars Align is currently a 6, so they're both a 6 right now, but double-double is not going to be online right away if I attack with this and then clear everything out of the cauldron. And since I don't need to full clear that, and this card is really good, I think I'm going to use one of the Unnatural Remedies, because at this point I think blocking with this, the reason I haven't been blocking Mothman with this is he has a lot of cards that punish it. So I think I will get rid of one of these to get 2 of the Doom off, so at least some of the Doom is gone. And then I will look at the top 2. Last use of the Suspension Bridge. Well, Shakespeare might use it, but... Ooh. Oh, yes. Yes, I would like to put the Visage back on top. Oh boy, yeah, this is ideal. Because now it means that there's still a chance that Shakespeare can take advantage of Deception on his turn or something. And then, yeah, we're going to attack with double into Visage, which will not ignore it since it's not a print 4 or higher. And double is currently a 6 since we have all 3 of the ingredients in the cauldron. And yeah, that'll be 5 damage. Mothman goes down to 21. And then we do use all of the cards in the cauldron. But, or no, I don't know what I'm talking about. We don't use all of them if we don't want to right now, because it's only if we cast a spell. But do we want to cast a spell is the question. You know what, I think I do want to cast a spell. I guess I could have kept a hold of the Unnatural Remedy now that I think about it. And then just tried to keep doing. But again, I think the Unnatural Remedy gets punished by too many of Mothman's things. So yeah, we'll cast the spell since we had all the symbols. I guess we'll go for the action gain. Yeah, let's go for the action gain, why not? Because then I will play Something Wicked This Way Comes. And we'll do 1 damage to a fighter that shares a zone with one of our fighters, which is going to be Sting here, of course. So Mothman down to 20. And then I think I'm going to gain an action because I would like to maneuver. Ooh, double's a nice one. Because my plan was to go here, ditch a card and draw 2. But I kind of like all of these cards. That being said, I've been talking about how this probably isn't necessary at this point, and I think that's true. Because I can just have him attack other things other than the sisters. So we'll ditch the Unnatural Remedy to use the drawbridge and draw 2 more for the sisters. This is a new one we haven't seen yet. All Seen Familiar, 4 value attack. Immediately return a card in your discard pile to your cauldron. After combat, if you won the combat, look at the top card of your deck and put it in your hand or cauldron. So, another way to get cards from discard back to cauldron to set up different spells. And then after combat, if you win with a 4, which isn't the hardest thing to do generally, there's plenty of 3 value or lower blocks. You can also get another card in hand or into your cauldron, which is potentially nice. And this one can be used to cast the spell too. Now, unless you've set up with Prophecy, you won't necessarily know what this ingredient's going to be, so it might not fully work for what you're trying to cast, but in that case you could just put it into your hand. But if it works in your cauldron, you can put it in there. It's a cool effect. Okay, that's going to be the sisters. Tarantula is dead. And then I guess it's Shakespeare. So let's maneuver. Ooh. Alright. Again, actor only, versatile 3. After combat, you may return the first card in your line to your hand before you add this to your line, and then you draw a card. So this lets you get cards back from your line to your hand to use again, and it can also help you if you're in a spot where you would otherwise maybe be in a rough position for syllables. It can help you line those up better. So it's a very nice card. However, right now our only actor is on the other side of the board, so probably going to be the one we ditch to the Suspension Bridge. It's also a 2 boost, which works to remove the remaining 2 Doom. So yeah, let's ditch that one to the bridge. Get rid of the 2 here. Then let's see what Mothman's got going on. Well, and both of these actually aren't bad, because Horror is actually fine for him to faint, because we don't have any others in the line right now. So it would just be a blank 2, essentially, because Horror's completion effect would still happen. But Deception's just better. Well, yeah, because we have to get rid of one of these anyway, so getting rid of the Deception just reshuffles his discard, which is bad for us. So we'll get rid of the Feint, and then, yeah, it looks like we're gonna Smack him with the horror. He's gonna block with deception. Yep, that's gonna deal 4. Down to 16. And then we've got our completion here. All are punished. Et tu, Brute? Horror. Again, fits pretty well. And that'll do 2 more damage to Mothman, so he's down to 14. And then he's going to reshuffle his discard. And then he's going to do the end of round stuff, so he's going to destroy the suspension bridge, which is going to make him place himself adjacent to the hero with the lowest health, which is definitely either Sister Hamlet or Sister Sting. They're both at 4. So it's either here or here. And I mean, this is where everyone is, so we're going to do it over here. And then everyone has to discard a card. We'll get rid of once more for Shakespeare. Hamlet will ditch. I think we'll get rid of blood. We'll have blood. The sisters. This puts a 3rd symbol in our cauldron, or a 3rd ingredient in our cauldron for double doubles. So actually, thanks, Mothman. That helps a lot. And then Titania. I actually think Moon Looks Down will not be needed this game, so we'll get rid of that. Alright. 3 sets. These shuffle. And only got 14 more health to go through. Unfortunately, we do not have the suspension bridge anymore, so we don't get to do the whole look at the top 2 and set up the perfect attacks, but I think we can still get there. Between Hamlet and the sisters, we actually have quite a few cards that get around Visage naturally, and now we can play around Terror by not having too many people adjacent if we can avoid it at one time. Shakespeare, alright buddy. Unfortunately, we probably don't have a way to set up horse this turn. Maneuver. Don't really have a great hand right now is the problem, so... here... Here. Maneuver. Ooh, alas. After combat, if you lost the combat, Shakespeare recovers 1 health. And then the completion effect is draw 2 cards, Shakespeare recovers 2 health. So he's got some healing there, which is definitely nice. Love the art on this one. Probably sound like a broken record once again, but it is amazing art. So he did an amazing job. Don't take up the Trizone. Let's just back them off here for now. Something like that. Alright. It's gonna be the sisters. I mean, we just start smacking, right? Yeah. Double double. Terror. So 3 block to 6 attack, so 3 damage. Mothman down to 11. Does 1 damage to Sister Sting. 1 doom gets put on the lowest number bridge. I do think we want to cast a spell. Which one do we want to do though? I kind of just want to hit him with the action gain and then keep smacking him. You know what? We're going to. Alright, we'll spend that to do the gain in action spell. Still have 2 actions left. I really want to Stars Align. It could be rough into a feint, but we're sending it. And that's almost perfect. The only thing better would be Deception, but that's almost just as good. Visage is just a 1 since we're there, and we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be 5 damage. Mothman down to 6. It is beautiful. And then you know what? We send it. Last card, Ward. Let's hit him with it. It's another Visage, which is just a blank 1. So he takes 2, down to 4. No after combat for him. After combat, place the opposing fighter in any space in your fighter's zone. Let's smack dab him right next to Hamlet. That seems good. And then I am going to cast this spell. Wing and Bat is deal 1 damage to a fighter that shares a zone with any of your fighters. So we do have Sting in his zone, so 1 damage down to 3. Mothman is looking like he's in real trouble. And look at that, Hamlet set up for the ultimate 1-2 combo here. We're going to choose not to be. We're going to take 2. Yeah, let's smack him with To Sleep Perchance to Dream. Alright. This is hilarious. I'm actually really glad. I almost hit him with the Plays the Thing, but this is going to be great. So, Overwhelming Dread is currently a 3 because he's destroyed 1 bridge. So he takes 2, down to 1. Then he places himself in the closest empty starting space, which is here. And then To Sleep Perchance to Dream is going to move him up to the amount of damage he was dealt, which was 2. So he's going to move right back to where he was. And then, because it was my only Hamlet reveal card, we're going to hit him again with To Sleep Perchance to Dream. He faints, but that doesn't matter, because he's taken 3 and going down to 0 health. And that is the game. Mothman has been defeated. Alright. Well, thanks everyone for tuning into this. This was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do more adventures content coming up. I'll go over some of the cards we maybe didn't see yet, if you guys are interested in seeing the rest of the cards from the set. Was there anything in the Witches that we didn't see? It doesn't look like it. We saw all the cards, even if not all of them were played for their effects. But yeah, we saw all the Witches cards. Then Titania. Ooh, yes. So these were the 2 that we didn't see. This one was one that Baked Goods did a reveal for. What Fools These Mortals Be. Choose an opponent, look at their hand, and choose a card. They shuffle that card into their deck. Love the pose, of course. This is like the Malcolm pose from his card. Stupid sexy Oberon and all that. This is a really interesting take on like Eliminate the Impossible or Insight or The Sight. These look at the hand and discard a card. This shuffles into their deck, so it does not hurt them. It actually helps them in exhaustion, so in some matchups that won't be ideal. But you still are getting rid of a card, so they can't use it immediately. And so you could hit a key card that they're maybe relying on having at a certain point, or just taking a block out of their hand. Do remember that you have the Glamour that gives you that gains you an action whenever you play schemes. So if you have like one or both of these, and you can kind of get whatever their good blocks are out of their hand and then maybe attack them, maybe even attack them more than once, depending on what you've got. Especially if you use Fair Folk to move you like into their zone as Titania, since she's ranged, or even Oberon, and then hit them with undefended attacks, or at least with not great blocks. So that's really cool to see. And then the other one we did not see is probably my favorite card in the deck, both art and effect wise, because it's just a really cool card. It's a 0 value Titania block, but a dream. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, ignore its value, and return it to your opponent's hand. And then after combat, draw a card. So now, it doesn't seem like this is great at first glance, maybe, because it's just delaying instead of actually stopping your opponent's card like a feint would. But you're not taking any damage because you're ignoring all the value, you're canceling the effects, so they're not going to get any damage through on you. And then putting it back in their hand, and you're drawing a card. So this card does replace itself, so it's not like you're going down on hand advantage. And there's a lot of situations where delaying them can be really annoying. whether they're trying to set something up. For characters that care about like ordering, like Little Red, you could kind of mess up maybe what she's planning to put in her basket going into your turn. Even in the set, you stop a card from going into the Sister's Cauldron, so you could stop them from casting a spell that they want to cast. For Shakespeare, you stop it from going into his line, so you maybe mess up his completion that he wanted to do. Like, you'll be able to attack him, and he'll either be forced to take an attack or block with something and maybe not get the completion on the card he wanted to because it was a red card, so he can't use it on your turn. There's a lot of really cool utility things with this card. So, and if anything else, it lets you, if you use your glamour, if you discard your glamour on the first attack, maybe you use the fairy song to value block, or where's the cancel? The protection of the fairy woods to cancel their first card, and then they attack you again. Well, normally you're not in as good of a spot if you don't have glamours to discard, but this just lets you cancel it, and then this gets you back to your turn, where you can now reveal your new glamour and be prepared for either your turn or whatever effects on their turn. So yeah, Titania has such a cool deck. It's very close for me between her and Shakespeare, because Shakespeare plays so much like Little Red, like just with the sequencing and planning out like a little side game that you're almost playing. But Titania has some really, really fun stuff. Let's go ahead and look at her glamours here that we didn't see. Got Glamour of Greed at the end of your turn. You may draw a card. So this is like T-Rex, but it's optional. So there are times where you might not want to do this, but I've found Titania plays very much as a tempo fighter. So this helps you with that a lot when you really want to push the aggression on your opponent and keep card advantage over them. And then we've got Glamour of Jealousy. When Titania or Oberon are attacked, before playing a card, they may swap spaces. If they do, your other fighter is now the defender. So this can help you protect whichever one of the fighters they're going after if you have better blocks for one of them, or just want them to focus on one over the other. This is a really cool glamour as well. So those are the 6 glamours, and I think all of the cards we saw there. Let's go ahead and look at Hamlet's real quick. I think, oh yeah, I think that was the only one we didn't see. Yeah, so this scheme was the only one we didn't see in this game for Hamlet. The Ghost. This is probably my favorite art in his deck. It's just, it looks great. Choose one. Hamlet recovers 2 health, or place Hamlet in any space in his zone and gain 1 action. So it either lets you warp, which maybe helps you get a double attack against someone on a not to be turn, and it gives you another source of healing. So between this and so there's 2 copies of the Ghost, and then between that and stuff like To Sleep Perchance to Dream, as well as the Plays the Thing, Hamlet has a lot of potential healing, which helps to offset the fact that he's dealing himself damage a lot to get his buffed attacks, and helps him a little bit with his clock, so he doesn't have as much of an issue in exhaustion as he normally would with an ability like he has. And then we'll save that one because that one's cool. Let's see, for Shakespeare here, we've got Deceived. This is his feint, essentially. It's a 2-value versatile any. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, and then the completion effect is to return this card to your hand. It's not always going to line up perfectly, but the fact that he can have a feint that can recur, you are giving up power on potential other completion effects, depending, like if you're really trying to loop this over and over. And it does require at least 2 other cards in your line, since it's only a 2-syllable itself. But yeah, against certain matchups, this is really, really nice. And the fact that if you don't recur it, it's just a normal feint that both your hero and sidekicks can use. Really solid card. Missing anything else? There's one of the horrors. We'll look at those in a second. Nope, I think we saw everything else. So, these are the other 3 horrors. So we saw 2 of them that game. We saw the bats, which was the reveal one, and we saw the spider, the freaky one. And then the other ones are the flames here. I think this was similar to the one that was seen on Zoe's portfolio site. It was similar to this, and kind of between that and what Stu said in the spoiler channel, kind of showed people that, oh, these are going to have like different art styles on them. Then we've got the snake one, which I did actually see someone in the spoiler channel call out, so good on you for that, and it does look really good. And then I think my favorite one is this one here, which we saw on the back of the rule book there when I pulled it out earlier, which is the blood in the skull. So those are the 5 horrors. They are all mechanically the same. They have the same text on them and everything, but having 5 unique arts is really cool. especially for the first card that we've seen this many copies of. Before this, there were, a decent number of decks that had 4 copies of a certain card, but this is the first one that has 5 of. And, if we're not counting something like the Voyages, because even though the Voyages mechanically, like, build towards the same thing for Sinbad, there are still 7 unique Voyages that have different effects, even if they all have the +1 for other Voyages. They all have different effects outside of that, whereas the horrors all are functionally the same. I still want to try and get a 5 horror line because that's just hilarious, especially since the first one you hit with will be a 4, then a 5, then a 6, then a 7, then an 8, and the last one will be an 8 that does 4 auto damage from the completion effect. Even though I think that spreading out the auto damage is better throughout the game, because you can cap off, like, a line that has 2 other 4s, or like a 6 and a 2 with a horror, and get a couple auto damage here and there. So seems like not a super viable thing to get a full 5 horror line, but if you can pull it off, it'll be great. And it is something I want to try to do at some point, because yes, that would be amazing. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for... Oh, actually, hold on one thing. Let's show off the map. Got Globe Theater here. And there are no unique mechanics as far as like high ground or one-way paths or anything, but there is some interesting stuff with the layout. So one of the things you'll notice is on the main stage here, you've got a couple tri-zones, so it's not really nice for the Wayward sisters. They do share the purple, but they are unique other than that. So if you have a sister in each of these, then you're already going to have 5 for Stars Align. And then of course, if you get like up in one of these side areas or whatever, you could get be like one of these side areas here, maybe back here, etc. You could get up to a 6 on this map, it looks like. And then another thing of note, which is really interesting, there's these 2 side rooms here that are a single space zone. There's 2 of them, and both of them are just a single space. So if you're sitting in this, any effects that require like you to be in the zone won't work. So that can work against you sometimes, but it can also be nice for you if your opponent has something that like hits an opposing fighter in their zone. If you're standing in one of these 2 spots, they can't actually affect you with those types of effects. And I did have that come up when I was playing on this map with some of the Slings and Arrows inbox stuff. Someone was sitting here and I had momentary glance when I was playing Titania, and I couldn't glance them because there was no way for me to get in their zone. Obviously, you can still attack if you're adjacent, but stuff that cares about zones will not work. So, really interesting map, one that I would need to play more to like really get the full feel for, but it does seem really fun. It is a 4-player map, of course, and as a 4-player map, it seems like it would be quite crowded, especially in the middle, and could lead to some really crazy bloodbaths. So cannot wait to maybe try this in 2v2 or free-for-all, because it does seem like a pretty tight map if there's that many fighters on the board, especially if you got like multi-sidekicks like Shakespeare and stuff. So yeah, there's the map. Of course, here's the other side that has the rings. You get to see a bit more of the art, but of course I always prefer the side that just has the solid colors because it's a lot easier for gameplay. But this does show off some of the really cool map art as well. And yeah, that is going to be Slings and Arrows. Definitely keep an eye out on the channel for more content of the set soon, whether it be Full Send Friday, maybe other adventure stuff, other just matches for using the fighters. And if the assets aren't up for like the tournament tables and stuff yet, those should hopefully be ready within the next week or 2. Once we get the green light from Restoration, we'll get those ready to go and people being able to play online with them as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for now. Definitely check out the link to my stream in the description. I've got my 2nd anniversary on Twitch coming up and have some really fun plans for that. It's going to be near the end of May, and then going to be doing some more streams for Slings and Arrows as well as adventure stuff soon, hopefully. So until next time, hope everyone has a good rest of their day wherever you are, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. If unmatched be the choice of game, play on.